Could the Lakers be on the verge of making the most shocking trade in franchise history? One that might either save their championship window or completely destroy it. Lakers Nation, buckle up, because what I'm about to tell you is going to make your jaw hit the floor harder than Shaq dunking on a rookie center. The rumor mill is absolutely buzzing with talk of a potential blockbuster trade that could reshape the entire landscape of the Western Conference. It involves none other than Paul George potentially heading to Los Angeles in what might be the most controversial deal since the Chris Paul fiasco. Here's where things get absolutely wild. According to emerging reports, the Philadelphia 76ers are seriously considering moving on from Paul George. And guess who's being mentioned as a potential landing spot? That's right, the Los Angeles Lakers. But before you start planning your championship parade, let me paint you the full picture of what this trade would actually entail, because it's more complicated than trying to explain the salary cap to your grandmother. The 76ers are facing a harsh reality check with their current roster construction. Despite adding young talents like Tyrese Maxey, Jared McCain, and VJ Edgecombe, a promising trio of 24, 21, and 19-year-olds respectively, they've got a massive Paul George-sized problem on their hands. And when I say problem, I mean a $50 million annual headache that's been more inconsistent than LA traffic patterns. George's 2024-25 season has been nothing short of a disaster movie. We're talking about a player who's appeared in just 41 games this season, averaging a career-low 16. 2 points per game, his worst output since recovering from that devastating leg injury back in 2014-15. The injury list reads like a medical textbook. Hyperextended left knee in the preseason that cost in the first 5 games, aggravation of that same knee in November for another 3 games, a left pinky finger injury in January, persistent left groin pain after the All-Star break, and finally, injections in his left adductor and knee that ended his season entirely on March 17th. This is the 5th time in 6 years that George has played fewer than 60 games, and the man is supposed to be a cornerstone player earning superstar money. When he and Joel Embiid actually managed to share the court a whopping 15 times this season. They went 7-8, with George's numbers dropping to just 14. 1 point per game. Not exactly the dynamic duo Philadelphia envisioned when they handed him that massive contract. Now here's where it gets absolutely insane for Lakers fans. To make the financial mathematics work for a Paul George trade, the Lakers would need to clear approximately $50 million in salary space. And there's really only one realistic way to make those numbers add up: trading LeBron James. Yes, you heard that right. The king himself might have to be sacrificed to bring in another aging star with a questionable injury history. The proposed trade packages are mind-blowing. The first option would send LeBron James and Bronny James to Philadelphia in exchange for Paul George. Imagine that storyline. Father and son reuniting in the city of brotherly love, while the Lakers bet their entire future on a player who hasn't been able to stay healthy for a full season in recent memory. The alternative package is equally fascinating but less dramatic. Gabe Vincent, Jared Vanderbilt, Rui Hachimura, and potentially Maxi Kleber heading to Philly for George and promising young center Adam Bona. This route would allow the Lakers to keep LeBron while still acquiring George's services, but would gut their depth and defensive versatility. From Philadelphia's perspective, this trade makes perfect sense, and honestly, it's brilliant asset management. They're essentially looking to escape from George's contract prison while potentially acquiring either the greatest player of this generation or a collection of younger, more reliable role players. Even in a worst-case scenario where LeBron decides to leave as a free agent, the 76ers would still have freed themselves from George's massive deal, creating tremendous financial flexibility for future moves. The second package would be even better for Philly's long-term planning. Vanderbilt gives him a defensive anchor under contract for 3 more seasons, while Vincent, Hachimura, and Kleber's expiring deals would create roughly $40 million in cap space for the 2026 offseason. They could even consider re-signing Hachimura, who's been one of the most underrated contributors in the league this season. But let's talk about why the Lakers might actually consider this madness. If the rumors about LeBron's uncertainty regarding his future in Los Angeles are true, trading him for George could represent a strategic pivot toward a different championship window. George, when healthy, is still a legitimate two-way star capable of elite scoring and perimeter defense. Pairing him with Anthony Davis could create one of the most formidable front-court combinations in the Western Conference. However, and this is a massive however, George's injury history and declining production raised serious red flags. This season 16. 2 points per game represent his lowest scoring average in nearly a decade, and his 43% field goal shooting and 8% three-point percentage, while respectable, aren't exactly elite numbers for a player commanding maximum salary space. The Lakers would essentially be betting that George's struggles in Philadelphia were circumstantial, the result of poor fit alongside Embiid, chemistry issues, or simply bad luck with injuries. They'd be wagering that a return to Los Angeles, playing alongside Davis, and potentially still LeBron in the second scenario, would rejuvenate his career and return him to All-NBA form. But here's the terrifying reality. George's contract runs through multiple seasons, and the Lakers will be committed to paying him superstar money well into his mid-30s. If this trade backfires, if George continues to struggle with injuries or his performance doesn't justify the massive financial commitment, the Lakers could find themselves in salary cap hell for years to come. The timing also adds another layer of complexity. Making a trade of this magnitude mid-season will completely disrupt team chemistry and rotations. The Lakers have finally found some stability with their current rotation, and introducing a player of George's caliber, along with his massive usage requirements, would necessitate significant adjustments from everyone involved. There's also the question of fan reaction and franchise direction. Trading LeBron James, even if he's requested it, would represent the end of an era and potentially alienate a significant portion of the fan base. LeBron brought championship glory back to Los Angeles, and moving him for an injury-prone star in decline might not sit well with Lakers Nation. On the flip side, if the Lakers believe their current roster has hit its ceiling and LeBron is genuinely considering his options anyway, getting Paul George might represent their best opportunity to remain competitive while transitioning to a new core built around Davis and George. The defensive implications also deserve consideration. George, despite his recent struggles, remains a capable perimeter defender when healthy. His length and experience could help address some of the Lakers' defensive inconsistencies, particularly on the wing positions where they've struggled at times this season. Ultimately, this potential trade represents one of the most fascinating risk versus reward scenarios in recent NBA history. The Lakers will be gambling their immediate future on George's ability to return to elite form, while potentially sacrificing the greatest player in franchise history, or gutting their depth entirely. The question becomes, is Paul George worth the massive risk? Can a player who's averaged just 47 games per season over the past 4 years suddenly become the reliable second star the Lakers need alongside Anthony Davis? Or would this trade represent another catastrophic miscalculation that sets the franchise back for years? What do you think, Lakers Nation? Would you trade LeBron and Bronny for Paul George? Or would you prefer to keep the current core together and avoid this injury-riddled gamble? Let me know in the comment below, and make sure to hit that like button if you're as conflicted about this potential blockbuster as the rest of us. This could be the trade that defines our next championship window, or the one that haunts us for years to come.